Hello, welcome. Lana here with Relaxed Growth. Today we are talking about the curse of feeling everything. So, when I was 21, pregnant with my first son, I was 8 months pregnant, and I had the first and only blowout. Vocalized everything I needed to with my father. My father was not a very emotionally healthy person, and he was an alcoholic. So there was not an opportunity to express things in a healthy way with my father. But at 8 months pregnant, I had an emotional kind of cracking where I was suddenly terrified, so afraid of what was happening. I'm about to have my first child. I don't have the experience of having proper parental leadership and raising a child well because it just wasn't something that my parents did well. So I was freaking out. And all of the resentment, all of the anger, all of the disappointment, all of the pain, all of the feelings of abandonment, rejection, frustration, everything was coming to a surface and I popped. So, about 4 weeks after that, 3 to 4 weeks after that, late August in northern Ontario, it was a hot summer. I got out of the lake and had these enormous welts, these hives on my body. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out what it was. And I was only 21. I did not really have any understanding of energetics and how there is a connection with the mind, the body, and the emotions, and how unhealed, unresolved experiences in our life, capital T and small t traumas, will create physical manifestations. So I spent, basically, short track here for you, 25 years trying to have what was diagnosed as cold-induced urticaria resolved. I went to allergy specialists. They said there was nothing that could be done. And because I lived in northern Ontario, we had cold winters. And so anytime my skin was exposed, it would break out. I would get red and hot and burning, and it felt like my skin was like an inch thick. That's how much it felt like it swelled. It was so intense, and this is going to sound just brutal, but there were times the pain was so intense and it would linger for a good hour that I thought I wanted to just fillet the skin off my arm bones. So, anyways, the one thing that was really important for me was that I knew it had something to do with that moment with my father when I was 8 months pregnant. It was like rage had unleashed from me, but it didn't have anywhere to go. It was like it, if I think of like a volcano popping, blowing, the lava's coming out, the steam is coming out, but there is still this huge fire underneath that is brewing, that is churning, that is stirring stuff up. And that's what happened with me. So I'm just grateful that I had at least that understanding at that time. It was probably what I'll call an intuitive hit because I wasn't spending time with individuals. I wasn't being educated at that time around stuff like this. So it was my intuition letting me know this was rage. So my body was so inflamed that anything external that was colder, even cooler, was creating this clash. So I had to start healing the emotional trauma that I had with my father. My father was a rager. He would yell. I learned how to suppress a lot of anger. And then when I could, not with him, I would rage. I would yell. I would break things. That's how I knew how to work stuff out. But again, it didn't work it out. It just brought it to the surface and really just cracked me and created these fissures and tears in me that made me more vulnerable, more susceptible to being unwell. So my container, my foundation was cracking. So I just want to share what I realized was happening, what it was boiling down to for me. Number one was I was emotionally sensitive. Two, I identified as an empath. Three, I felt fearful about processing my shadow emotions, things such as fear, guilt, shame, grief, trauma. I didn't even know where to go for that. And four, I didn't know how to create healthy emotional boundaries between my energy and someone else's, nor did I know how to create just healthy boundaries, period, around asking for what I wanted and needed. And number five, I was unaware of how to respond to my emotions. I knew how to react. I knew how to explode. I knew how to get it out. But again, I wasn't healing it. I wasn't remedying it. I wasn't able to communicate and get to the roots of what was really going on and what I needed, how I needed to heal. I didn't even know who to ask for help with that. I didn't know it was a thing. So this is the blessing that came from that experience I had at 21. It catalyzed me into learning about when we are emotionally sensitive beings, we pick up people's stuff, we house it. And if we feel the archetypal energies of healer or protector, warrior, teacher, nurturer, maybe we have a strong mother archetypal energy, we are definitely going to be osmosing other people's feelings of fear, inadequacy, their need to be helped, guided, led. We will take that on. We will make it our responsibility to protect these individuals, to guide them, to help them, to heal them, usually at the cost of ourselves, because it's just how we're wired. And as women, we especially have this tendency to put others first. So if you identify as somebody that feels everybody's energy, you can walk into a room, you can walk in a mall, it could be a club, it could be a restaurant, it could be a classroom, and suddenly you feel yourself maybe going off. Maybe suddenly you're angry or super sad, or you feel like you need to retreat. You just don't feel like yourself or like you did moments before entering that space. There is a strong possibility that you are considered an empath or an emotional sensitive. This is common with individuals that identify as spiritual seekers, light workers, a lot of healers, teachers, even conscientious parents have this going on. So here's the lowdown. It's our responsibility, and ours alone, to get our energy right, to create healthy emotional boundaries with ourselves so that others can understand through our ability to articulate and express what we need, how we need it. That is good communication, but it requires us to become emotionally aware and emotionally more intelligent and mature so that we do not believe it's our duty to take on others' stuff. All right? So if this is interesting, if this resonates with you, if you would like to know more about how to cope, how to strategize in a world that has so much emotional fear, guilt, shame, and grief, and a whole lot of traumas being expressed, lived out in unhealthy ways, please reach out to me. I am very versed in this territory. I've been actively studying and training in this for over 25 years, and I've done so much of my own healing around physical manifestations that have been expressed as immune disorders or healing crises in the body, specifically around inflammatory conditions. You can read more about me on my About tab at lanaboyuk.com. Please check out the events page because there's a series of workshops that I'm actually offering for empaths, emotional sensitives, healers, spiritual seekers, conscientious parents, those that want to get more emotionally stable and embody that energy, so that they can feel more emotionally comforted and courageous in a really unstable world and do their best to discern other people's energy so that they can stay kind of in their own lane and take care of what they need to course correct, and then lead from that place of soul wisdom. lanaboyuk.com. If those workshops under grounded spirituality are not presently being offered live, there is going to be an option of a self-paced digital version, which you will be able to find in the shop page. So please reach out. I also do high touch one-to-one coaching, and we get stealth. We go right in there and we start pulling at the threads, and I help to realign you. So blessings to you, so much love. This is big, courageous work, and you don't need to suffer. This is a choice. Thank you so much. Much love to you.